Hello again and welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe so you're notified when we put out new content. And as always, if you have something to say, go ahead and leave us a comment. This is a video, it's going to be a teaching video about the 5 count. This is a great strategy to use when the shooter has no dice influence or no dice control at all, essentially a random roller. What we're going to do is we will start a 5 count for each new shooter, and once you reach the count of 5, betting will begin. Betting we're going to discuss and show in another video. This one will be simply teaching how to do the 5 count. When the shooter sevens out and the dice pass to the next shooter, you will start the 5 count again. And if the shooter ever sevens out prior to reaching the 5 count, the count is over and you would restart the 5 count on the next shooter. So let me first go over kind of the rules, how to implement it. In order to go from a count of 0 to a 1 count, we need to see a box number. Essentially, you started on the come out roll, so we need to see a point established. And once we are on a 1 count, the next 3 rolls, regardless of the outcomes, are counts 2, 3, and 4. And then in order to go from a count of 4 to a count of 5, we need to see a box number. And once you have reached a 5 count on the shooter, betting begins. And again, betting will be explained in a different video. So I'm first going to go over some examples. In order to go from count of 0 to 1, we need to see a box number. So if the shooter throws a 7, we're on a count of 0. So if we'll say the first roll was a 7, we're still on a count of 0. We'll say the next roll was craps, we're still on a count of 0. In order to go from a count of 0 to 1, we need to see a box number. So now let's say the shooter throws an 8 and he establishes a point. So now the count is 1. Now the next 3 rolls, regardless of what the dice outcome are counts 2, 3, and 4. So we are now in this example on our 3rd roll. So let's say the 4th roll is a 10, our count is 2. Let's say the 5th roll is a 5, we're our count of 3. And let's say the 6th roll is a 12. Now we're on a count of 4. Now, in order to go from a count of 4 to 5, we need to see a box number. So, for example, if the next roll were to be, we'll say a 6, that would be a box number. You would have now reached a 5 count and betting would begin. Again, betting will be for another video on that. So, let's give another example. So say it's a new shooter. And again, in order to go from a count of 0 to 1, we need to see a box number. So if the first roll is a 2, we're still at a count 0. Then let's say the shooter throws a 4. The point now is 4. We've now gone from a count of 1 on the shooter's 2nd roll. Now again, the next 3 rolls are regardless of the outcomes, are counts 2, 3, and 4. So let's say the shooter throws a 12 on his 3rd roll. And then on the 4th roll, he throws, we'll say a 10. So the count now is 3. And on the 5th roll, the shooter throws, we'll say a 6. So now we're on a count of 4. Now, in order to go from a count of 4 to 5, we need to see a box number. So let's say the shooter threw a 2. That would have been his 6th roll, but we're at 4 and holding. Let's say on his 7th roll, he throws a 3. We are still at 4 and holding. And now let's say on the 8th roll, he finally throws a 5. That would be, now we have gotten to a count of 5, and betting would begin. Okay, betting will be discussed in a different video. Now let's give another example here. Let's say, for example, on the come out roll, the shooter, let's say he throws a 9, he establishes a point. So the count is 1, and this was on the first roll. Let's say the second roll is now a 6. So now rolls 2, 3, and 4, regardless of the outcome, are counts 2, 3, and 4. So the second roll is a 6, the count would be 2. Let's say the third roll is a 10, now the count is 3. Now let's say, for example, the shooter actually throws the point on the 4th roll. The count is now 4. Even though he made the point, the puck goes off. We're still counting him, so we're still at a count of 4. Now for the shooter's 5th roll, again, the same rules apply. We need to see a box number, in this case a point, in order to go from a count of 4 to 5. So let's say the shooter then throws, we'll say a 6. That would have been the 5th roll, and now we have counted the shooter to 5, and now betting would begin. Again, betting will be discussed in a different video. All right, one more example here. In order to go from the count of 0 to 1, we need a box number. So let's see, we're going to do this randomly. Let's say 5. Let's say the count now is 1. On roll 1, now we have a count of 1. So let's say the second roll is 10. So now the count is 2. Now remember, rolls 2, 3, and 4. After we're a count of 1, the next 3 rolls, regardless of the outcomes, are counts 2, 3, and 4. So 2 rolls, the count is 2. Let's say throws a 9, that's the roll 3, the count is 3. Now let's say, for example, on his 4th roll, he throws a 7. Well, obviously that terminates play, terminates the cycle, the shooter 7 to out, and we would have never gotten to a count of 5. And that's kind of the beauty about the system, is that it protects you against a random roller. All right, so those are some examples of how to utilize the 5 count. Let's give you one more example just by going over and just seeing what the dice do, and I'll talk about this. All right, so this is roll 1. Okay, the point is 9. So now the count is 1. Now the next 3 rolls, regardless of the outcomes, are counts 2, 3, and 4. So 3 rolls, counts 2, 3, and 4. All right, here's the second roll. 6. The count now is 2. Here's the third roll. 8. The count now is 3. Now here's the 4th roll. 7 out. And this example was like the last example. We never got to the 5 count, so we never started betting at all. And again, betting will be discussed in another video. Hopefully that makes sense about how to 5 count a shooter. Again, it's a great strategy against a random roller, or a roller that has no control. It helps get your money out slowly. That is the mechanics of the 5 count. Betting will be done in a different video, and we'll talk about how to bet once we get to a count of 5, but this video is simply explaining how the 5 count works. Thanks for watching us. As always, go ahead, like and subscribe. And then if you've got something to say, go ahead and leave a comment. And we look forward to producing our next video. Thanks for watching.